Mary, what is going on?
Hello, how are you, Noble?
Super. Thanks for being willing to do this.
Yes, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Awesome. Okay. So, how long have you all been homeschooling?
Well, we count preschool because we were doing something. So 11 years.
Wow. Okay, that's great. And how many children do you have?
I have four. I have four.
That's great. And you're also a director, if I understand correctly, right?
I am. I just finished my 8th year directing.
Wow, that's no joke. That is awesome. Okay, what is some advice that you would share to a brand new homeschooling family?
Snuggle up and read a lot. Just spend that time together as much as you can. And there are a lot of important things, but reading a lot is really good. And also, like, if you're doing CC specifically, just do your memory work. If you're doing foundations, do your memory work and your math and your language arts. And it's really plenty, because as you help your kids just love learning and not be pressured to do a ton of extra things and a big checklist, they will ask you and want to dive into the memory work on their own. So if you just have those books or go to the library or go out in the woods, you will fulfill a lot of more than you realize you're fulfilling with it.
That's great. That's great. What has been a helpful CC resource for you as a homeschool mom throughout the years?
Well, my favorite more recent thing has been the question. So when I read the question, even though my eldest was not in challenge yet, there were so many practical pieces in that book. My copy is very much highlighted up. And it's so practical, the questions it gives you to ask with the different subjects, because as much as we are talkers in my home and we talk about everything with our kids, I didn't feel like I had good conversations to have about all the academic pieces. And so it gave really practical ways to talk to them about books or science or math. And so I am a highlighter of those things, so I can go back and find those pieces that were helpful to me while reading. And so to have that resource is really great. And then another one is our first year in CC, so that we just finished our 9th year, our first year we did not have trivium tables. It was the last year with the 3rd edition of the Foundations Guide. And so when the new one came out, the trivium tables for geography came out. And those have become one of my favorite resources, because it's so helpful. I don't want my kids touching my Foundations Guide. Like, I don't want them, and they can't. Like, there were 4 of them in Foundations at one point together until this year. So I cannot have them all around it easily, and I want to learn it too. So I buy myself a trivium table for home, and my kids each get a geography trivium table for home. And we use those just so much every year. So we stockpile them.
That's awesome. That's great. Another helpful resource that CC has just recently done within the past few months on the Classical Conversations bookstore is the product bundles have been very popular recently too. So that's been really, really helpful tool. Thanks for sharing that. How about some advice that you would give to maybe a more experienced veteran homeschool family that could serve as a good encouragement or reminder for them?
Really, just to remember your why. Remember why you're doing it. As much as people talk about, well, people get into homeschooling because they're afraid of this or afraid of that. Honestly, I think at the core, there are different reasons. And, for us, it started because my son couldn't go to school because of the public school and age and things. And then it ended up that we found CC and didn't want to do anything else. And the ability to be with my kids and be their main influencer. So going back to my why as now, a longer term homeschooler, helps me to remember I want to spend time with them. I want to talk with them about things. Eventually they're going to stop asking me questions because if I don't answer, or they're going to stop asking to spend time with me. And so if I keep putting them off, so trying to remember that I chose this. I chose to be the influencer. I chose to want to spend time with them and have conversations with them. So remember your why. Go back to that and ask the Lord to re-spark those things. And if your why isn't relevant anymore because you've passed that season, ask the Lord to give you a new why so that you can enjoy the time with your kids, because it's fast. It goes really fast.
Love it. What would you share with a family that's been in public school, private school, charter school, and now they are educating their children at home?
One big thing that I've watched some of these new, like recent like sudden homeschoolers, is you don't have to recreate public school at home. And one thing, even as I've been talking to some moms, is just hearing them and helping them to understand if this is something that now you're seeing that you might want to do. It's okay to break away from what the public school system is asking you to be doing and now start picking your own, because you're home. So you need to be able to understand and invest in the curriculum with yourself and believe in it. And so it's okay to do that. And again, to read a lot, and our libraries are closed and different things are happening. So helping share with them resources like the different apps that have good books on them, and that's a really valuable piece. And I know that's a concern for some moms, is what happens if we can't get books. Well, we're going to share with each other. We're going to be community. Now more than ever, as you're home, you get the chance to experience community, because that is something that homeschoolers do really well, and that with CC we do really well. And so by being a sudden homeschooler, especially if you align with the community, you can really benefit from the support. Lean on others is a big thing. I think that was a huge piece for me when I started homeschooling, was realizing, oh my goodness, there's all these moms here who want to support me. They want to help me. And so for a sudden homeschooler, don't feel isolated. Don't, reach out to the mom who says, I'll help you if you need it. She really means it. She really means that she'll help hold your hand and walk you through what you need to be successful and to not pull out your hair. When we offer it, we really mean it. We're not going to push ourselves into your life if you don't want it. So if you need it, reach out and we'll offer.
That's awesome. What have been some fun family activities that you all enjoy doing?
We have gotten out our bikes, and we realized we should have taken them for tune-ups before everything shut down, because getting them out and all the parts don't work, but thankfully we've stayed safe. We've done lots of bike rides, dug in the woods. We live right next to some woods and in our neighborhood, and so we've dug into the woods and explored, and sometimes getting really messy. Lots of good walks. Board games have been revived in my home, and puzzles. Like the day that my puzzles came in the mail, because I realized I didn't own adult puzzles, I only owned the little kid ones. I declared it a quarantine miracle, because I actually got the puzzles in the mail, and having the kids really be excited about that too has been really neat, and doing those things together and spending time together has been good.
That's awesome. For me, if I see a puzzle over like 15 pieces, my head explodes. Because
now it would explode then, Noble, because I have a 1,000-piece one
that
I'm working on right now. Oh. But it's been good. It's been good because for me, it's helped me during like church services online. It's hard because I'm such an engager in service that I've had a harder time doing that. But doing a puzzle, I'm engaging while I'm doing it. I'm agreeing with the sermon. I'm absorbing it. And so it's been really fun to have that piece rather than, being frustrated that I can't, be engaged in person. So
sure, that's neat.
Naughty. I don't know if that's naughty to say that I do puzzles during church. And I don't know if that's naughty. I realized, I thought about that. I was like, I can't take this with me when we go back to the building. Like, I can't do my puzzle.
That's right. That's great. I see, whatever works for you. That's great. That's awesome. Okay, so what has been an encouraging Bible passage for you throughout your homeschool journey?
I have two. One is Isaiah 40:11, and in it talks about the shepherd feeding his sheep and carrying them close to his heart, and that he gently leads those that have young. And when I found that verse, it's actually that right there. And so I see it every morning and I read it every night before bed. And it just reminds me that the Lord in his tenderness gives me everything I need to lead my kids. And when I realized that, and just the comfort too of the shepherd, like Psalm 23 says, yet also the discipline of the shepherd, and him taking care of us is just such a great picture for me, especially the piece where he holds me close to him, that I'm not far away from him. He keeps me close. And then I love the verse, Psalm 127:4, that talks about our children being arrows in the hand of the warrior. And it really helps me to remember, when I started on the homeschool journey, and even just on the journey of parenting, and remembering the span, and like I did the math of what's this span that I'm giving up of my life to be with my kids. And with the span of my 4 is 7 years. So it's like 25 years until they're all 18, which it's not over, but this like intense period of giving up myself, and just realizing I have only that much time to form my arrows before sending them out, and really asking the Lord to help me enjoy that time and not squander that time. And that's been really valuable to me, to remember that yes, it's hard and it's intense, but I have time to do the things that are for me later. And not that I don't do those things now, but keeping the perspective of the years and what my purpose is. My purpose as a parent is to form my arrows, and they are my arrows shooting out into the world. That is an important God-given purpose.
Awesome perspective. I love that. So right now, CC is doing a gratefulness campaign, and I'm going to post a link in the title of this video for folks to be able to upload their 30-second, 1-minute videos of what they're grateful for. CC is going to be sharing them every Tuesday and Thursday with all the families and stuff. What are some things that you're grateful for?
I am super grateful for my family, and definitely for my CC community. We've stayed in touch and kept up things even after Foundations has been open, and like weekly times together. And I'm super grateful for them. And I know this is like the Bible answer, but I'm really grateful for the Lord. I'm really grateful for him in this season. Had a really bad attitude the first few weeks of all of this happening. And I just started talking to the Lord about, well, I don't even remember things from my morning time throughout the day to meditate on. And he brought up to me, he's all I need, and started talking to me about that. And I just had to really get before him and just say, you're right, you are all I need. And you formed me as an extrovert, and you knew this was coming, and yet you're still all I need. And so just remembering that the Lord really is all I need has been something I've been super thankful for. Not that I don't need community and all those pieces, but in these seasons, he still is enough. And that's something I've been really thankful for.
Amen. Amen. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Mary, for sharing your insights.
You're so welcome.